All right, students, welcome to Paranormal 101. I'm your professor, Haunted Gal, aka Professor Andrea, and here is your next lesson. In the paranormal field, there are still a lot of questions. In fact, more questions than answers. But if you paid attention in the first class, you learned that we are getting closer because there are some things that paranormal investigators can agree on, which draws us closer to getting some answers. And there are certain things about the paranormal that we are starting to agree on and come to a consensus on. And that unity is a little exciting because while that doesn't make it a science, it brings us one step closer. And some of those things that we can agree on is that we can classify the paranormal into at least 4 different categories, and that would be inhuman hauntings, intelligent hauntings, poltergeist hauntings, and residual. Today, let's talk a little bit about what we would call intelligent hauntings. There are 2 types of hauntings that are the easiest to explain, and that's going to be residual and intelligent. The next class is going to be about residual, so stay tuned. But intelligent hauntings are the easiest to explain because basically all it is just a spirit with intelligence. Really, it's a spirit with any IQ higher than my ex-boyfriend. The bar for that is pretty low. In all seriousness, it just basically means a spirit that can actually interact and communicate with you because it has an intelligence. It has a consciousness, basically. There is a consciousness there where it sees you and it hears you and interacts with you. So an example of this, let's say that I ask whatever spirit is in a potentially haunted area to turn on my flashlight, and my flashlight turns on. Well, that is a sign of intelligence. And then I say, well, can you please turn the flashlight back off? And immediately my flashlight turns back off. Well, now I know I'm dealing with something that has more of an intelligence. It's not as if I say, can you turn my light on? And then a ball rolls out. And I'd say, oh, did you see that? That's paranormal. No, because I didn't ask for a ball to roll. I asked for a light to turn on. So it's not something that just coincidentally happens. It's not just a chain of coincidental events. I asked for a light to turn on, and a light turns on. Then I asked for it to turn off, and it turned off. It was not coincidental. That's going to be very important. You want to be able to make sure that there is a series of events that you can point to say, this goes beyond being something that we can say is a coincidence. Like there is an EVP that maybe follows, or there was a chain of questions and it seemed like the K2 meter or the Mel meter or whatever you're using, or the lights, and things seem to interact based on the questions that I was asking. And it just seemed to go beyond coincidental. And that's how you know you're dealing with something that has intelligence. Let me give you an example of this. This comes from my friend Jimmy's page, and this was from a couple years ago. And Jimmy works with the New England Society of Psychic Research, and that was founded by Ed and Lorraine Warren. And of course, you know them from Annabelle, The Conjuring, and things like that. And they were actually in Ed and Lorraine Warren's home. Now, this was not the museum part. This was actually the home part. And this is an example of an intelligent haunting.
Okay, so what we're saying is we're trying to make this lamp flicker or turn off. We have our second team up here, Jen, Wade, and Rosebud. This is the A team up here, and we're focusing on this lamp right here. And we would like it to flicker or turn off. To acknowledge us, please.
Come on, you can flicker.
Please. Flicker.
There.
Thank you. A team. A team.
That one you got on film.
So that is an example of an intelligent haunting. They asked for flickering lights and they got flickering lights. They didn't just say, like, can you make the lights flicker? Oh, did you hear that sound? Did you see that shadow? No, they asked for flickering lights and they got the flickering lights. It was an intelligent response. It wasn't a coincidental series of events. So it kind of leads to something that is a little bit more intelligent. Now, of course, anything that has an intelligence is considered an intelligent haunting. However, for the most part, most of us paranormal investigators will kind of generalize. When we say you have an inhuman haunting, the inhuman haunting is something that never walked the earth as a human. And we will talk about inhuman hauntings in another class. Generally, we talk about it as demonic, because that is the biggest category. And we will talk about that in another class. And then when we say you have an intelligent haunting, as we're talking about right now, we are generally talking about the soul of a human, something that did walk the earth as a human being at one time, that for whatever reason is still stuck in this realm, or chooses to be in this realm, or is visiting this realm and is able to communicate with you. So for us investigators, we kind of differentiate between the types of intelligent hauntings by saying inhuman haunting is something that never walked the earth as a human, and intelligent is something that did walk the earth as a human and that is still here for whatever reason. So that is why when we talk about intelligent hauntings, we are generally talking about human hauntings. And then when we talk about inhuman, we're talking about intelligent hauntings of things that never were human. So we'll talk about that in a future class, but there you go. So there you go. That is your second class in Paranormal 101. Again, the first class was all about the science and the paranormal. This class is about intelligent hauntings. If you feel like you learned something, then make sure you help with this particular channel as well as other small content creators, especially in the paranormal, by engaging with our content. Like, follow, share, comment, and watch our previous videos. I have 2 other videos posted currently. One is our first class about the science and the paranormal. One is just a funny video about things I hear all the time as a paranormal investigator. And again, don't forget to visit and check out and there are other ways that you can continue to help in my endeavors this new year as a paranormal investigator content creator here on TikTok.